Wanted to just go over today's topic. So we'll start looking at the Acumatica ecosystem, a little bit on the history of Acumatica and who's involved in the space, and then we'll move into functionality offerings. So we're going to take we'll take a short peek into Acumatica, just more skim what this a skimming of what the system looks like and a little bit of its capabilities, very little in this short time. And then we're gonna then we'll go into some of the different and combined capabilities of Acumatica after that. Third, I want to get into your configuration fit. So basically, some subscription and implementation considerations. If you're someone new considering and you're subscribing and having Acumatica as your new system of choice. And then we'll wrap up, do a recap of today and take a quick look at the upcoming webinar. So this is the first in a series of 9, and we'll be doing some of the more detailed dives in the future sessions. So as the 10-year timeline pulls up here, I wanted to cover note in the upper left-hand corner a little bit on the 10-year history, so before the milestones there. So in 2008, the founders of Acumatica assembled and built up the product and sold it for the first time 2 years later. So 2010 first sale. 2015 they got the 1,000th customer mark. A big milestone there. Then you can see it's pretty much a hockey curve. From there, like over the past 3 years, have risen up to having 4,000 customers. So basically quadrupled the customer set in a pretty short time frame. So we've got a lot of significant growth in the cloud ERP space over the past 3 years, and in general, and Acumatica is definitely been included in that. I did also want to point out as well that that bullet, that milestone in between 2016 and 2018 there, vertical additions. That's something that is also market prevalent, I should say, and we'll see a little bit later that Acumatica, along with the market, is expanded with several additions in concert with modern technology strategy direction. We're going to take a look at that into the in the review of functionality of Acumatica. This wanted to show that Acumatica is has more than just a Western Hemisphere presence, but is definitely strong in the United States. So we can see the global headquarters out in Seattle. Got in North America, service support, engineering, sales support, throughout. But you can see we also have regional headquarters out in Asia and Singapore, and engineering in Russia as well. So it's a worldwide system with a strong presence in the U.S. For this slide, I just wanted to thank our friends at Microsoft for the horizontal scrolling presentation option here. This to show all these Acumatica VARs. A VAR, acronym VAR, for value-added reseller. These are a lot of companies that have been around long before Acumatica existed. In a lot of cases, Crestwood being one of them, have joined the ranks of understanding the system and helping the customers implement it and move off from different platforms. So there's a lot of company in this space for implementing and providing support services for Acumatica. ISVs up in the upper left-hand corner, ISVs, integrated stand for integrated service vendors. There have been plenty that have joined as well. In addition to like the value-added resellers that we saw on the last screen. On Acumatica's website, they're categorically listed, so we can actually have a little dashboard to say, hey, I want to look at budgeting applications or payment automation solutions that they're available online. The ISVs here, we have them listed in different with different focuses. So like product centric, solutions. Here we've got like Jazz Systems that goes deep with manufacturing. Service-centric solutions like Nonprofit Plus. It's focusing on, as the name would indicate, the nonprofit industry. In business intelligence tools, we have BI 360, a pretty well-known provider in that space, and the productivity tools. We have Avid Exchange, a payment automation solution. So just one example from each of those, but you can see that there are a lot of ISVs out in the space of Acumatica, and with a lot of different focuses from this slide. Just wanted to mention too that Acumatica has an XRP platform that's basically giving the ERP having the capabilities for these ISVs to develop their focused solutions. So that's really help get into verticals and industries with Acumatica. So this a showing of customers that, as you can tell, the Acumatica customers are spanning across several industries here. Acumatica is really focused on the SMB or small market business and mid-market spaces. A little more focused on mid-market, but both SMB and mid-market. And that, with that said, we do have some household names, that are in the space too. We see the YWCA here, KFC. We've got Mitsubishi Electric. So there's some known names, that are using Acumatica, and it's provided a compelling solution for a variety of customers in a variety of industries. So with that said, I want to get into a review of some of the functionality that's offered within Acumatica. And before getting into that, I just want to take a quick look at the software itself. So with that said, I'm going to open up Acumatica here, and so I'm logged into a demo environment of Acumatica, and I just want to go through a little bit of navigating around it. So in Acumatica, we've got on the left-hand side, we call these workspaces, and basically it groups together like function menu items. So if we look underneath payables, anything that's related to accounts payable, transacting, processing, running reports, preferences and setup of it, it's all grouped together. Now there are a lot of menu items as we took a quick glance at there. In this upper left-hand corner, this is called Universal Search. So basically, instead of having to traverse through the workspaces and look for the specific menu that's of interest, we can type in a word, type in a name, and find just like a Google search within the ERP. So let's say I wanted to go forward and do some vendor maintenance. Type in the word vendor, spell it right. Type in the word vendor, and pull up the screen. Here's a list of vendors, and then I can go ahead and add away into the system or edit existing vendors. While we're on the vendors page, I just want to take a quick look at the help that's provided out of the box with Acumatica as well. So we're on the vendor screen. A lot of different screens here, a lot of different called sub tabs with many more values to be input or edited. So we have some questions on particular elements of the vendor maintenance pages. So click help, and it's not just pulling up a whole encyclopedia, but rather help topics that are relevant to where we are in the system. So we say, we're on the form for vendors. Click that, and then we have this whole page on vendor maintenance, and you can kind of scroll down and see all the individual elements and all those on those pages, on those sub tabs being described exactly what their significance are. So that's a quick way. All the menus are menu items are grouped into workspaces here. We can quickly get to them through Universal Search. We have help at our disposal, and that recognizes where we are in our system to bring up relevant help topics. Also, with this global search, this doesn't bring up menus, but it can bring up specific values that have been entered in the system, namely like entities that we have. So in our demo instance, we have a vendor called Go-To Vendor, and so I typed in the word "go-to" without a space, and there I see the Go-To Vendor record. I can open that up, but it also shows for that Go-To Vendor transactions that were applied or that it transacted with. So we have an accounts payable bill, purchase order, just as a couple of examples here. So so pretty powerful search engine is provided here. Again, this is called Universal Search, and it's just like a Google search within Acumatica. I do want to also point out that, well, as we saw with like payables, there are a lot of reports out of the box. There are also a lot of dashboards out of the box. So this is the customer view dashboard, and I can change what my default dashboard is by going into this user profile section. Not trying to get into too much configuration here, but did want to show that, you know, for these shared dashboards, there are groups of them for distribution, for project accounting, for management purposes, for field services, for CRM, for finance, and you know, the one that we're defaulting to is the customer view here. Select it. It's already been selected. So if I was making a change, then I would be saving it here, and they're all out of the box. So all delivered. A lot of reporting, a lot of dashboards available out of the box. From this dashboard, it's usable in the sense that we can do things like orders to ship, for example. You can drill down, look at the 3 orders to ship. That, you know, there's a number 3 there for orders to ship. We can see what 3 orders there are. We can drill down. You know, 2 clicks later, we're into the details of one of those 3 orders. So so it's a functional dashboard. We can have lists. So we have customer contacts listed here. I have some recent activities regarding emails and appointments and phone calls with customers. And then we have different graphing capabilities as well. So I'd like to show a couple of options with graphs as well. So, well, first, these graphs are also drillable. So we saw a number of 2.6 million and change, and here are all the orders that make up that value. But also here, we can direct our focus to a portion of a graph and make it more relevant to the eye. What I mean by that is we're looking at the sales order trend by month graph, and we got you know, as it would indicate, a bar for each month. And say, you know what, I want to look at the last 3 months. So I'm just going to refocus this graph on those last 3 just by doing a little click and drag. And then that's what I get. Just let's just look at those last 3 months of results instead of full 12 months. Click that refresh button in the upper left-hand corner, brings it back to its original state. Another option I'd like to show is with the legend as well. So this is actually a little bit of a newer feature. So we're in 2018 release 2, as you can see from the name up here, 2018 R2. So there are 2 releases of enhancements and new functionality provided every year by Acumatica. And coming with this latest one, what we have here, like on this graph, you can see like sales order trend by month. Majority of these sales are coming from the SO or sales order transaction type, and then there's the straight individually generated invoices, and then cash sales. We see like, hey, you know, probably like 95+% of all those sales are coming from sales orders, but we want to look at more of, you know, what's the split between these two, and what are the total counts of these. So we can actually deselect one or more of the legend values, and there you can see like, yeah, we know most of it is sales orders, but let's look at the other 2 parts of it and get a better visual of what that's like. And again, I can just reselect that and bring it back to its original state. So there's a lot of power in these dashboards, and there are a lot of dashboards that are delivered out of the box. These can be configured and published to to other users in the system, while preserving the original dashboard that comes out of the box. So so a lot of options as far as directing, I would say, users' attention to the most important information needs through them. So that's a little bit on Acumatica and what it looks like. We'll be diving into it a bit more over the next several sessions. I'm going to come back to where we're at in the deck here, and functionality offerings. So these are just some of the functions within each of these offerings. So like within financial management, we can set up recurring transactions. We can run budgeting, fixed asset accounting, process intercompany, dimensional reporting, have automation in the CRM or customer relationship management space. Supply chain, do drop shipments. We can trigger inventory replenishment requests. We can create kits that are stock or non-stock. We can generate and apply landed costs. So these are some of the functions within each of these different functionality buckets. And I would say, what we're going to do is over the next several weeks, we'll cover each of these. But I also want to mention as well that these functions, the way that they're delivered through Acumatica, they're delivered through those various editions of Acumatica. So Acumatica last year really got into vertical editions. So some examples of those want to run through is Acumatica's Field Service Edition. So think of technicians that they get in a truck, go out and install products, repair products, bring back returns that need to get repaired, bring them back out, reinstall them. So with a Field Service Edition, the functionality of Acumatica gets packaged in a way so it can enable scheduling and dispatch, tracking the maintenance of equipment, warranties, tracking service contracts, actually tracking having real-time GPS tracking via Bing Maps. So a lot of power is being delivered in Acumatica by the way that functionality is bundled and focused on a particular industry. We've got some other. There are some other editions as well. So the Commerce Edition. The Acumatica platform also, that integrates with existing commerce sites that a customer may be using, and this is one way of going about it. So you have a commerce connector for Magento and Shopify, a product configurator, so you can support some of those common product configurations, such as matrix items, where let's say you have a shirt and there are multiple sizes of it, there are multiple colors of it, and you take the product of the colors and the sizes, and you have that many different products of basically the same shirt to offer. So that product configurator provides that support for such an item that is commonly referred to as a matrix item in the e-commerce space. So this is another one of these editions that's focused on e-com, the e-com customers, and really facilitates the ability to sell through marketplaces such as Amazon, and it supports Magento, BigCommerce, Shopify, so some of the key players in that industry. And the manufacturing edition, support of BOMs, or bills of material, MRP, material requirements planning, do planning, production scheduling, estimate jobs. It has its own product configurator, so with a little bit, so a little bit of a different purpose. Think of creating a product and providing some what-if analysis of the different types of labor that's going to go into different types of materials that's going to go into what's the cost going to be, how can that be turned the most profitable. Here's yet another example of bundling the functionality of Acumatica and turning into a specific edition. In this case for the manufacturing industry. Another one is the construction edition. So that second bullet there, project accounting. Acumatica has a strong project accounting base. I'll say within the suite, and they said, here's a space that gotten very little attention in the ERP market is the construction industry. I've been in the ERP industry for going back to the 90s. Date myself a little bit. Have not seen construction vertical out of an ERP that tries to support any and all industries. So something really unique about it, and just came out over the past year, and it's based off of a strong project accounting platform. So yet another addition, and in this case, kind of thinking a little bit out of the box as far as typical additions that one may expect out of an ERP provider. This one is a bit unique in the industry. And here's another one, distribution. So be able to run sales order fulfillments, purchasing receipts, and have purchase requisition functions. So definitely Acumatica has really bundled its functionality in a lot of different ways that make sense to the customers and the environments that they operate in. Speaking of functionality, what we have here is a list of products that Crestwood Associates has built on its own to also enhance the Acumatica suite. So we've got all these on our website on the you can find from the Crestwood homepage. But basically providing some new functionality in the automation in the AP and AR spaces, and substitution complementary items is a real neat one that just jumps out where as we're say processing an order for a customer, we can get a little prompt like, oh, by the way, we can there's a few complementary products that they may be interested in, and basically enable some upselling and substitute, and as well as substitution items. So say the customer has an order for a product and find that it's out, but there's something that's suitable enough to replace it. We provide a product for that it basically enables the ability to react quickly in case of a stock out, or to upsell in case of a complementary item. So we have those products there. We've got the URL down below. We'll have this published on our website as well. But just wanted to show that we also enhance the suite in addition to the ISVs and what Acumatica focuses on delivering. This is regarding your configuration fit. Here's something unique for Acumatica, is that there are 3 different options for deploying it. So we look over in the left-hand side here, public cloud SaaS solution. So basically, if you use this implementation method, your system is going into Acumatica's own cloud. You may have heard the term multi-tenant. So you, among many other customers that would take this option, it being fully serviced in their own cloud. They're managing all the infrastructure, the database, the servers, you name it, all by themselves, and it's a strong, really strong option, and used by a lot of SaaS providers, or sometimes is actually the only offering by other SaaS providers. So what makes Acumatica a little more unique is that in addition to that, there's also a couple of other ways to deploy Acumatica. One is licensed on premise, and the other is licensed in the data center. This latter, actually, Crestwood is a cloud provider, so we have our own cloud that we host host clients' production systems on, and we can provide some specific attention to it, beef it up as needed, and basically run the same as a public cloud. So it's another option. Sometimes there may be some regulatory needs that say, hey, regulatory needs bar a customer from going to a public cloud, but can do this. Or the third option would be a license on premise, which would be kind of like standard traditional ERP, implementing it, say, in your own data center, and standing up that way. So a little bit unique in this space is that there are these 3 different options. Some providers just provide one, that's the public cloud, that you subscribe to them, and that's the only way to go. There are three different options here, and just wanted to point that out in terms of how Acumatica differentiates a little bit. Another way that it differentiates is this modern consumption-based licensing. So some of our competitors will charge on a per-user basis, and Acumatica doesn't. Acumatica will say, well, let's look at your transaction volume and base your subscription and your needs on that. So it's not going to penalize those customers that may have a lot of employees that need access to the system to varying degrees. Yet they can yet they have low transaction volumes. That's a real good benefit. This is a real good benefit for those types of clients. So there's a couple different, those are two differentiators I'd say of Acumatica in this cloud ERP space. Is again, one, the deployment model, and two, this consumption-based modeling option. So that's everything I wanted to show today. I just want to recap a little bit. The Acumatica ecosystem. There's been a lot of movement towards Acumatica in recent years. Customers have jumped up from 1,000 to 4,000 in 3 short years. Have a lot of VARs or value-added resellers such as Crestwood Associates in this space. We have a lot of power with vertical additions, and integrated service providers are helping support that as well. Functionality offerings, you can see the trend that's been in the industry that Acumatica is part of, packaging all this functionality into verticals. I do want to mention that it can be done a la carte as well. So additions kind of bundle the different functions of Acumatica, but you can say, hey, I want specific functions, and it can be subscribed uniquely for your own needs. And speaking of your configuration fit, did want to emphasize again, there's two differentiators of Acumatica. One being the flexible deployment model, so that there's 3 different options: public cloud, private cloud, and on-premise, basically. And then and also the modern consumption-based licensing. So not penalizing those customers for having a lot of users of the system, and just focusing on their needs based on the transaction volume that needs to be supported to keep them humming quite well. So that's everything we had to cover really today. Just wanted to show that the upcoming webinars, these are also listed on our site that you've probably seen. But basically, next Tuesday we're going to start getting into the system. We're going to start with financial management, and then flow through these different functional areas of CRM, or customer relationship management. Supply chain, we'll cover that in 2 parts. Focusing on the revenue stream first, and then the procurement stream. We'll get into the manufacturing edition. Look at service management, project accounting. That again, that's also the backbone for the construction edition, but is definitely used by a variety of industries, especially in the services and professional services space. And then lastly, transitioning to Acumatica. Like what can you do next to basically move from your current legacy systems into Acumatica. So the next session, again, that's next Tuesday at the same time, and then we're going to go on to a regular schedule of like Thursdays at 10 o'clock. All these times are Central Standard. That's the path we'll have from now until through mid-January.
Thanks for watching. To learn more about our products, visit www.crestwood.com. Hope to see you there soon.